indoctrinated into the Brotherhood of Darkness and been given the status of Sith Lord, that they're all ordered to the Battle of Ruusan, or the Battles of Ruusan going on, which is, considered to be the final battle between light and dark, because there's armies of Jedi and armies of Sith. Full-blown armies. I mean, armies of lightsabers everywhere. And they're having this big climactic battle with Khan and Lord Hoth on the Jedi, because, there's has to be a Jedi Lord here now. And Bane says, I'm not going. I'm going to go off and discover the old ways of the Sith and greater paths to the dark side than the Brotherhood of Darkness. And he labels himself Darth Bane. I believe he calls himself Darth Bane there, because the Sith, the Brotherhood of Darkness also didn't allow for the Darth moniker to be taken, because they thought it placed like someone who took a Darth title above others, which, if you play the Star Wars The Old Republic, or SWTOR, Darth moniker does place you above a Sith Lord. I mean, their ranking system is kind of not really, I don't really buy into it all that much, but basically, you're an apprentice, you're a warrior, you're a lord, then you're a Darth, and then you're basically a Dark Lord. Pretty much. Things are not exactly always so cut and dry in the game, but that's how they wanted it to play out. Bane goes off and he goes to Lahan, or Rakata Prime, from Knights of the Old Republic, and he goes to the old temple that we go to in the game, which I find... See, this is how you integrate lore from other Star Wars material well. You don't just ignore it, you don't just throw it away. You go and you look through the plethora of shit that's available and go, okay, what can I use that makes my story make sense? Because, Drew Karpyshyn, he could have just created this whole new Sith Lord, all this new random fucking bullshit that didn't make any sense or just had new context within the Star Wars community. But no, he kind of said, okay, I could use Revan, I could use Knights of the Old Republic, I can make this work within my story, and whether or not he had that idea from the very beginning, or whether that came to him later on, it doesn't matter. He made it work, and it worked well. Because what ends up happening is Bane goes into the temple, and he finds a holocron of Revan, which is kind of funny that no one else found it, but, let's just forget about that. And basically, the Darth Revan holocron projection begins teaching him some of the ways of the Sith and the dark side, and Revan kind of tells him that a Sith Lord should never have more than one apprentice, even though Bane takes that and he takes it to be literal, like there should be like one apprentice and one master, and that's how he forms later on the Rule of Two, and he is the guy who formed the Rule of Two. But Revan, I believe, is making more of a point of, okay, there can be multiple Sith Lords, there can be multiple Sith Masters, but each one should have their only one apprentice, so that the apprentice can supersede the master, and you won't have so much infighting that apprentices are killing each other, or there's apprentices ganging up on the master and killing him, and there's nothing really to be gained. Which, either one works, because, SWTOR, for all of its bullshit, can prove that there can be multiple Sith Lords, but once they have multiple apprentices, things don't work. If they have one apprentice who kind of supersedes them, that's a better way to go. So Bane learns a lot, and he feeds on the dark side that's even more powerful on Lahan, because he says that Korriban has such a dulled presence in the dark side. Like, Korriban will always be full of dark side energy, but it's kind of like dulled, and he believes that it's because the Brotherhood of Darkness is just so not really caring about the dark side. They're just kind of there, Sith in name only. And yeah, they're assholes, they're dickheads, but they're just a bastardized version of the Jedi. They don't really do anything that really screams like intelligence or depth within the dark side of the Force itself. And he believes that Lahan is more permeated with the dark side because there's no Force there that's degrading the overall nature of the dark side of Lahan. And so he takes off and he goes towards Ambria. As to why he's going for Ambria, I don't remember. But I believe Ambria also showed up in Tales of the Jedi, which is where Nomi Sunrider was for a while. I could be wrong, but I believe it's the same place. Oh yeah, because he's going to meet up with an envoy. No, wait. Oh no! He has to fight Kasim first on Lahan, because the Brotherhood of Darkness send him after Bane because they think he's a threat. And they're like, okay, he's a rogue Sith Lord. Just go send the Battle Master of the Academy after him, the one who taught him basically everything he knows about lightsaber dueling. And just go kill him on Lahan, which they somehow know the location of, even though Lahan was supposed to be lost. But who cares about that sort of thing, really? So he ends up fighting Kasim, and the duel's pretty hard fought, and Bane seems to have the upper hand until Kasim decides he's going to pull out 2 lightsabers. And the whole shock of that is that Kasim always urged Bane never to get into double lightsaber combat, which Bane realizes now was kind of his own protection against Bane, because he actually is a master of dual Jarkai, dual blade fencing. And they're fighting in the temple. Bane realizes he can't really beat him with 2 lightsabers. He can't really defend against them too well, but he knows the layout of the temple better than Kasim does, so he uses that to his advantage. And he ends up bringing part of the temple down on top of him and killing him. Bane, I believe, sends word that he killed Kasim and that he's going to meet with an envoy from Khan. He chooses Ambria. Not exactly sure still. I guess it's just considered barren. Brotherhood, I'm going to try and speed this up because there's a lot more to talk about. Brotherhood of Darkness sent an envoy. It ends up being Githany. She tries to poison him with poisoned lipstick, I believe. And Bane and her have a thing, so he kisses her a couple times, and he thinks that, oh, it's a really shitty poison. I'm just going to, kiss her a couple times because I don't really care. And then, later on, Githany leaves. He realizes, oh fuck, no, she used a lesser poison to mask an even deadlier poison, and I just took 2 or 3 doses of it. So he's near dead. He finds a healer on the planet, I think named Caleb, or Saleb, or something I don't know. I'm trying to speed this up. There's a lot to talk about. Yeah, Caleb. And he's not going to heal him because he senses Darth Bane is, Darth Bane. And he threatens to torture his daughter, I believe. And Caleb finally helps him and just wants him to leave afterwards, which Bane does. So he is healed, he survives, and he goes to Ruusan while the campaign is still going on against the Jedi. He, surprises all the the Sith Lords there. And he basically, he's there to bring about the end of the Brotherhood of Darkness. And what happens is he offers them some powers and some techniques he's learned since learning all this knowledge of the dark side and whatnot. And I think he uses the focused power of the dark side with the other Sith Lords to basically set the forest on fire that the Jedi are hiding within. The Jedi and the Republic in tandem. And they flee from the forest, but before Bane can use that power to really hurt the Jedi some more, Khan breaks the concentration and leads a full-on charge against the Jedi, using conventional tactics like blasters, speeders, and lightsabers. Which, pisses Bane off, but I don't think Bane really cared all too much. I think the whole point of it was he was hoping to kill as many Jedi as possible to really hurt the Order. And Khan breaking the connection kind of really ruined a bit of that plan, but that's not the main point. His main point is wipe out Khan and the Brotherhood. Brotherhood end up fighting the Jedi. They're doing kind of well, almost too well for Bane's liking, because he doesn't want the Brotherhood to succeed against the Jedi, because then it's going to make his job harder. He orders the fleet, the Sith fleet, to break away from their active stations and fire down on the planet, I believe. Something to that effect, because basically what that was happening was the Sith fleet in orbit was keeping the Jedi reinforcements in orbit from reaching the ground, and when he broke that orbital position of the Sith fleet, the reinforcements could break on through, and God, I cannot remember that Jedi's name. Lord Hoth, and what is his name? I can't remember what his name is. Oh yeah, Valentine Farfall, that weird Jedi. He breaks through with his forces and he lands on Ruusan, and he is Lord Hoth, and they beat back Khan's forces, and they end up being bloodied, beaten, and basically routed because there's way too many Jedi reinforcements in the Army of Light. Khan's pissed. Oh yeah, and Bane also kills Quartus, because Quartus tries to join him, and Bane's just like, well, fuck you, Quartus. I don't give a shit. I think Quartus thinks he's trying to take over the Brotherhood of Darkness, and Bane's originally intrigued because he's like, it might not be such a bad idea. Oh wait, you think I want to take over the Brother? You're stupid. And he kills him, and he takes some texts and shit that Quartus had on him, which were full of personal information and bank accounts Quartus had, as well as some locations of dark side artifacts and whatnot, and tombs. Khan comes back to the camp. He's pissed off with Bane. Bane, I think, threatens or does something that pisses Khan off, and he also gives Khan the information on how to use the next power, the Thought Bomb, which is a lot more dangerous than anything Bane had done before. Oh my god, 40 minutes in already. Holy shit. Okay. So basically, Bane gives the Thought Bomb, and Khan uses a mind trick on Bane to make Bane not only give him the information, but also try and stay at the camp to be killed by the Jedi. And Bane plays along, even though the mind trick didn't work, because he wants Khan to believe that he made it happen. So Khan takes the remnants of the Sith, and they go into a cave. And Bane runs off to stay away from him. He thinks about Githany and about how she could have been a good apprentice, but he also came to the conclusion later that she was so wrapped up in Lord Khan and the Brotherhood of Darkness, she wouldn't have actually made a very good apprentice, because she was not apprentice material. She was too wrapped up in the Brotherhood of Darkness and messed up from before in her own story with the Jedi, which is really stupid. Okay, it's not stupid, it's just not really something I find very intriguing. The whole going to the dark side, because of course Jedi breaking the fucking rule of romantic connections, whatever. I've already gotten into detail why I don't care about the Jedi and all the fact that it seems like everyone breaks this stupid fucking rule that has a purpose. So Khan and the Sith there create the Thought Bomb, and the Jedi chase after them. Not all of them. Some of them leave, some of them stay behind. But a good portion of the Army of Light chase them with Lord Hoth at the helm after the Sith, and I believe they think it's even like a death run. A suicide attack. And Khan basically has all the Sith in kind of a trance, except Githany is trying to escape. And Khan basically is mentally connected to all these Sith who are pouring the dark side into this Thought Bomb. And when the Jedi show up, he claps his hands, and the Thought Bomb explodes, and basically it's a well of Force energy that just explodes. And anything and everything that can basically touch the Force or within the general area, but also it more specifically affects those who can touch the Force and anything. I mean, everything touches the Force, so it basically affects everything. And it basically explodes and just rips you apart. And it creates it. Since it ripped apart both Sith and Jedi, and it also kills Githany, it creates this well of Force energy, which is, the Valley of the Jedi. I don't know why it's called Valley of the Jedi, because it's really more like Valley of Jedi and Sith. But it creates the Valley of the Jedi on Ruusan, which is the well of Force energy, because, well, the Thought Bomb killed dozens, if not hundreds, of Sith and Jedi with one strike. Khan's dead. Brotherhood of Darkness is wiped out, utterly obliterated. The Jedi there obliterated. Githany's dead. Brotherhood of Darkness is gone. The new Sith Wars come to a climactic end, and Bane is left alive. Although, as we find out later on, he was not unaffected by the thought bomb going off, because it kind of affects with him mentally a little bit. But it's really only kind of like an after effect that really messes with him for a while. Holy fuck, that's book 1. Oh my god, way too much info, way too much. Okay. Okay. 45 minutes in and I've only gone through book 1. Jesus. Phew. Okay. Book 2. Okay, you know what? Let's do it like this. This is on the fly, and I'm sorry, but this is already 45 minutes long. No, I don't know if I want to do that. Oh, damn it. Okay, I'm going to try and speed it up really quickly, but I'm going to try and blitzkrieg through 2 and 3. So, Bane ends up finding a little girl who's brought to Ruusan, I believe, by the Republic or the Jedi, like, as a Jedi apprentice or something along those lines. This crazy shit happens on the planet. She makes friends with a creature on Ruusan. It gets killed. She has a cousin there with her. Everything is chaos after the Sith and Jedi were killed by the Thought Bomb. Mercenaries of the Sith are going nuts. Bane, like, kills a couple and then he lets the others run because he's like, no one's going to believe a bunch of mercenaries that they say one Sith Lord survived the Thought Bomb. He also thought that it would help that, well, if rumors did spread that there was still Sith around, it would confuse the Jedi Order still around and sending forces all over the place looking for phantoms that aren't really there, at least as far as they knew. He rummages and takes some Sith belongings and stuff that he thinks can help him, and he runs across who will eventually become Zana, his apprentice, Darth Zana, as a little girl. I believe she's killed somebody already with the Force and doesn't really realize it yet. Bane sees she's not really, like, intimidated by him much, and she's kind of a hard nutcase already as a little kid. And he's like, I like you, you've got moxie. That's basically what happens. And she wants to join up with him because he's like, you know, badass Sith, and she can obviously sense that something's up with him. And he's like, well, I'm going to go to Duxon because I found Quartus's information about where Freedon Nad's tomb is. And, you know, once again, referencing other Star Wars material seamlessly, Drew Karpyshyn, you brilliant bastard. Kind of like James Luceno does on a good day. Other times he just sheaves, and he just creates fucking sheave, and it just, oh my god. Okay. So he's like, if you can find a way off of Ruusan and get to Onderon, which is, you know, the main planet of the Onderon system, Duxon is its moon, or one of the moons, you will have proven that you can handle yourself, and we'll go from there. He takes his ship. The Jedi are still scattered all over Ruusan doing what they can, but the Thought Bomb basically, you know, it fucked the whole planet up. New Sith Wars have come to an end, which is a basically 1,000-year-long series of conflicts. Yada yada yada, political bullshit going on. So, Bane goes to Duxon, and yes, Zana, I believe she changes her name already to Zana, because she doesn't really want to hold her old name, which I don't remember at this moment. I'm not going to look it up, because that wastes time. She finds a way to Onderon, but Bane goes to Duxon, but on his way there, he ends up seeing lots of visions of, I believe it's Quartus at first, and Quartus is mocking him and talking shit to him and trying to drive him nuts, and Bane isn't sure if it's actually Quartus' spirit or if it's just the after effects of the Thought Bomb making him go a little crazy. Because the Thought Bomb, even though it didn't kill him because he was far enough away from its detonation, affect the entire planet. It send out a shockwave of pure raw force energy across the entire planet that, you know, if you're too close to it, basically killed you and kind of sucked you up into the well. And what happens is he goes to Duxton and he crashes the ship because the Quartus images are making him nuts. He crashes, he lives, barely. And he gets out and he's attacked by, you know, the various creatures of Duxton, which if you've played Knights of the Old Republic 2, you know there's plenty of those. I don't remember exactly what he fights. I don't think he fights as a keg. I think he, like, fights some of the other smaller, like a Boma or something, or a couple Boma. I don't remember exactly. But now he starts seeing visions of Lord Khan, which is odd because Khan's, like, kind of helpful, not really, like, talking shit as much as Quartus is. But Khan's kind of smugly kind of helping him. But Bane, again, just tries to ignore it or not really acknowledge it, really. He ends up finding Friedenad's tomb. And he finds, first of all, I think he finds a holocron. I could be wrong. But he also finds, more importantly, he finds the Orbalisks. And basically what happens are, the Orbalisks are little beetles that kind of crawl all over your body and they, like, attach themselves to you. And basically they suction themselves to your body. And they pump you full of poison, or at least, not really poison, but they kind of pump you full of, like, toxins, but the toxins are more, like, helpful for you. Well, okay, here's the thing. The Orbalisks are, like, really, like, impenetrable, like blaster shots, lightsabers. They don't really get affected by them too much. So he basically has this armor of beetles all over his body that make him impenetrable. But they're painful as shit to have on you, and I think, like, if they do get hurt, they kind of pump you full of shit that, like, is supposed to help you, but it hurts, like, really bad. It's like a venom almost. And Bane uses the pain to make him stronger and the natural effects of the beetles, the Orbalisks. I could be getting some of the aspects wrong a little bit. But basically, they're kind of good, kind of bad, because he's in endless torment. But they also make him kind of impenetrable and really strong. So, you know, it's like a double-edged sword. They kind of work, they kind of don't work. They kind of help, they kind of don't help. Okay, so yeah, he finds Friedenad's holocron, I believe, which, you know, I'm sure Nod had a holocron, and he just basically never, hey, Alima and Satal, did you know I have a holocron? No? Well, fuck you, you don't get to have it anyways. Or Exar Kun, I have a holocron, but you ain't gonna get it, fuck you. Bane finds a holocron, he studies it for a while. He tears a Drexel out of the sky, and like a Beast Rider of old, well, I think there's still Beast Riders around. He takes it to Onderon's atmosphere, when Duxton and Onderon's atmosphere kind of form one atmosphere when they're really close. And he arrives down in, probably, since there's only one city, I'm going to assume it's Iziz. There's a couple Beast Riders giving Azana shit for being there, and, you know, the little girl. And Bane just shows up, uses the beast, and slaughters them all, and he's like, alright, Zana, you proved yourself. Let's get the hell out of here and begin your training. So, years and years and years pass. The Republic is recovering from basically over 1,000 years of constant warfare with many Sith factions rising up in the ashes of basically Vitiat's empire. I don't even know if you can call it that anymore. It's more like Vitiat's subpar kind of empire that he wanted on the off days, because really he only cares about Zakul, who, Jesus Christ. The Jedi are recovered, or recovering. I mean, they lost lots, and you know, it's shown that the Jedi basically took control of the Republic because it was on the verge of collapse. But now it's being handed back over to, like, Republic citizens, like, with the new Chancellor Valorum and all this shit going on. And Bane, using the vast bank accounts that Quartus had, apparently, has set up estates and places of residence for him and Zana all over the galaxy, and he's using Zana as an agent to empower separatist forces across the Republic, which is now taking back all the space and territory owned by the Sith into the fold, to basically give the Republic hell or cause them trouble and focus them elsewhere other than really looking for Sith, which the Jedi are kind of doing still, but most Jedi believe that they're all dead anyways, so it's not really a big issue. And I'm not even going to get into how, like, weirdly... Okay, here's the thing. Like, with Zana being used to spring up these separatist forces, like, I think Drew Karpyshyn is, like, he fell into one of the tropes of Star Wars where he tried to impart some sexuality into Star Wars, right? Which is fine. Zana can do her own thing. I'm not saying that it's not real. Here's the thing, though. Star Wars has a really, like, bad relationship with, like, human or just sexuality in general within its own universe. I don't know why. There seems to be nothing. There's no piece of Star Wars lore or, you know, extended universe forum, video game, book, comic, anything, even movies that handles sexuality very well. It just doesn't. The closest we got to it in the movies was the Slave Leia outfit, and that was just kind of like a Jabba the Hutt's a creeper. He's gonna put Leia in this outfit. That wasn't like that wasn't really like that wasn't like supposed to be like a sexual thing. Like, I'm sure there's a lot of unbecoming pictures on the internet of people and their fucked up fantasies, but that was just Jabba being a creeper. Okay, he's a hermaphroditic alien. He doesn't actually care about that sort of thing. He just finds humans visually appealing. But when it comes to sex in general and nature within Star Wars, it's either handled very poorly, like in SWTOR, where sex is always a joke, it's always out of nowhere, or it's with a romantic interest just because, hey, it's time for us to have this black screen. Okay, they did it. Are you happy? Okay, let's move on. Or it's done in a way that feels like they were trying to go, like, legit, like with Zana, and it just falls flat because you're kind of like, that wasn't handled very well. Okay, to me personally, the whole display of her being intimate with one of the separatists because she was, you know, she's manipulating them and using them. She knows they're gonna die in the attack on Republic forces. It didn't work for me because I was like, is this like necessary? Do I really need to read about this? Like, do I care? Am I supposed to find this interesting? And I mean, here's my thing: is that other books, other series like Mario Puzo books and Godfather, Omerta, books like that, he has some of the most asinine, out of nowhere sex scenes. Okay. But within the universe he's created, they work, because you're kind of like, alright, all these people are either gangsters or dickheads. They might as well just be like these overly sex-typed criminals anyways. Whatever, it adds some, it doesn't add much to the character, but you're kind of like, okay, I can see why the character's doing it. Within Star Wars books, it rarely ever works for me, okay? It always feels like the author was like, I'm going to try and make this a more gritty, kind of more realistic take on Star Wars universe, and like add some sort of sexual nature to it, but it falls flat for me. I know that argument just came out of left field, but I had to put it out there because it's an aspect of the book that has stuck with me for years, where it's like, I could have read that book and I didn't need to know this part. I didn't need to read it. It didn't need to happen because it was handled not exactly the best. So that's just my opinion. Moving on. The separatist force she's with ends up being killed by the Republic because, you know, Bane wants the separatists to, across all these systems, cause the Republic problems, but he doesn't want them to become powerful enough to where they actually can raise armies across systems, kind of like, you know, the Confederacy will many centuries later, and actually give the Republic hell, because then that'd be a whole nother thing he'd have to deal with. So they end up falling, they end up failing, they end up dying. Um. So,